All right, can you hear me now? That stinking button. I swear it gets me every time. Uncle Lisa, turn the sound on at once. I'm telling you, that button on this mic gets me every single time. All right, so Nursing Our Travel Bug, thank you so much for the raid. I appreciate it. Nettie is traveling, so she's not able to be on panel with us tonight, but she's in the chat, and she prepared this story for us, so I really appreciate that. Thrifty Angela, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm also going to try the new share video file instead of sharing it from another screen. So hopefully that works a little bit better and I'll be able to click on comments throughout it. But let me get up here and welcome everybody in. All right, we have MelNetteLivingFreeZipCodeless. We have Uncle Lisa Productions. I feel so honored. Thank you for coming in. We have Nomadic Hippie. Him and I were up to a little something for my kiddos earlier, so thank you, Hippie. We have Happy Place Camping. We have RV on the Wayside. Hey, thanks for coming in. We have Donald. Hello, hello. Hitch Up and Tow. Fordman, aka Kenneth Oakes. Hello and welcome. Lucky Dog Productions moderator Sue. Thanks so much for coming in. Thrifty Angela. Hello, hello. Let me see if I'm missing anyone else down here. I'm just getting to the comments where it said I was muted. All right. K&R Destinations and a Little Bit Crazy. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for coming. All right. Let's get this started. Hey, Tommy Travels. I see you over there. All right. Let me try to share this from the file share instead of sharing another screen, and let's see how this goes. Day's Great Adventure. Welcome in. Okay, that's kind of cool. It shares it the same way. Let me try the different screens. Oh, I got to pause the video. All right, let me see. I thought they showed it. No, that's the only way. Okay. Oh, you can be big and it can be small. Okay, this is interesting. Sorry, I'm playing with it because, I don't know. I haven't played with it yet. It's kind of neat. All right, let me go back to this screen. Nettie says, laugh out loud. Yeah, I'm a little goofy. All right, let's go back. Let's get started. I'm going to try to pronounce the name. Hopefully I don't mess it up. But it says the Lillielid murders were the result of a carjacking that escalated to multiple murder on the 6th of April, 1997. Hey, James Katniss. The Lillielid family, consisting of Vidar, 34, and Delphina, 28, and their two young children, Tabitha, 6, and Peter, 2, were held at gunpoint after Vidar entered into a conversation with a teenage girl at a picnic spot on the side of the road. That is the family. He was discussing his religious views with the teenager when two of her friends approached him and pointed a loaded gun at the father of two, stating that he was going to have to take the family's van. Vidar and Peter. Vidar initially offered the youth his wallet and keys on the condition that the teenagers would allow the family to remain at the rest stop but instead the group insisted that they enter the back of the van. That's stuff I don't understand. Why do you have to take the family with you? If he's giving you everything, the keys, the wallet, everything, why do you have to take the family with you? This is Tabitha and Delphina. I hope I'm saying these names right. The group, which consisted of 6 teenagers, forced Vidar to drive to a secluded spot off the interstate. Before the family were instructed to line up next to the ditch. Each one of them were shot. Before a member of the group, Jason Bryant, stated that they weren't dead and shot the family again. Ugh. Let's see. This is Karen Howell, 17, Joe Reicher, 20, Crystal Sturgeon, 18. Can't read that other name just yet. And then there's Jason Bryant, 14, Natasha Cornett, 18, and Dean Mullins. What was strange about this brutal act was the crime scene. They had all been lined up on their backs near a ditch. Hi, Safe Robbie. Welcome to the chat. Nettie says, such a sad story. Yeah, I don't understand stuff like this. Why not just leave the family? I don't understand people stealing from people, period, but why not just leave the family where they were and then take the van and leave? Why do you have to mess with the family too? Hey, Johnny's Journey. Thanks for coming in. Your travel pictures have been absolutely gorgeous. If you all aren't following Johnny's Journey on Instagram, go check it out. The pictures she has been posting of this trip are amazing. Also, follow her YouTube channel if you haven't. I think most of you do, but if you haven't, check her out. She's got an amazing pictures. All right. Let's keep going. Sorry, where was this at? Driving and listening. This is in Tennessee. Hey, Nursing Our Travel Bug. Thanks for the raid. Vidar was shot a total of 6 times, once in the head and 5 times in the chest. He and Delphina died at the scene. Delphina had been shot once in the arm and once in the leg, shattering the bones, inducing incredible pain, and making her unable to stand. But it was the 6th extra shot in her back that killed her. Oh, this is brutal. A little bit says, okay, there was a killing like this in Winchester, Kentucky a few years ago. Oh, man. All right. Look at those beautiful children. Tabitha, who was 6 years old, was shot once in the head, which resulted in immediate brain death. The young girl was brought to the hospital and found eligible for organ donation, and her organs were successfully harvested. She was pronounced dead the day after the shooting. Nomadic Hippie says, next week you need a story of a happy haunted story. 2-year-old Peter was the only survivor. He was shot once in the head and once through his back, and he was left with serious disabilities. Donald said, note that Peter, the survivor, had a lawsuit against Annie Rice. I can't imagine being the only survivor of your whole family, the guilt that would carry with you, the terror that you would have from that. I can't imagine. The 6 teenagers were rumored throughout their trial to have been involved in Satanism and the occult, but this was considered a distraction from the main issues of the heart of the case. The 6 killers, the oldest among them 20, the youngest 14, were arrested and convicted of the murders. District Attorney Berkeley Bell, at the time, considered the satanic angle a distraction, but later went to say that it was evil, whatever it was. Yeah, very, very evil. Hippie says, Nettie, maybe a Casper ghost type story. Uncle Lisa says, Nomadic Hippie, we can all watch some Scooby-Doo. Charles Berkeley Bell, Jr., the district attorney. They were rumored to be involved in occultism and Satanism. However, no evidence was presented. They were rumored to have met at a motel room and self-mutilated, drank each other's blood, among other things. You know, I've always found the satanic ritual group type things I wouldn't say interesting, but I have read some stuff about them, like satanic rituals and things like that. And my first thought whenever thinking about satanic stuff is, why would you willingly participate or want to be a part of something where you're drinking someone else's blood or you're sacrificing an animal or something like that? Like, if you're willingly wanting to do those type of things, I think that would kind of indicate that you have some mental health issues, because I don't think that's something that normal everyday people would want to do. I don't know, just a thought. Nettie said, pretty crazy. It is pretty crazy. Uncle Lisa would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for me and that dang cat. All right. I don't know, if I ever saw my kid, my teenager, whatever, getting into some kind of satanic type stuff, I would seek mental help for them. I'm just saying. Hello, New Vision Security Services. Welcome to the chat. Donald says, can you do the case of the disappearance of Michael Madden, August 1996? He was 20 years old. We will look into it. Blood pudding is a thing over here. It'll really hitch up and toe. What is blood pudding? I know it probably involves blood, but like, is it blood from an animal? Is it boiled and cooked? What is that? All right, let's keep going. All of them received 3 life sentences and an additional 25 years each for the attempted murder of Peter. According to the believers, the murders unleashed something terrible in town that brought its powers to the witchcraft and the occult community. Hitchup and Toast that Hippie has some on English breakfast. So is it like jelly then? Hippie says, I had blood sausage one time. Well, almost. I spit it out. RV on the Wayside says, most of the satanic groups are just anti-religion and not really about worshiping Satan and doing rituals. Only a few groups outliers are the crazy types. I researched this in the past for a podcast. It's kind of like, there's a certain type of witchcraft. It's got a very specific name. It's right there in the top of my brain, and I can't think of it right now. But they aren't bad. They aren't white witches, but they're Wiccan. That's what it is. Wiccan is a type of belief system, and apparently Wiccan is good, not evil. From what I've understood. I don't know. All right. In the spring of 1997, Joe Reisner, 20, Natasha Cornett, 18, Karen Howell, 17, Crystal Sturgill, 18, Dean Mullins, 19, and Jason Bryant, 14, were living in far southeast Kentucky in towns like Paintsville and Pikeville, close to the West Virginia and Virginia lines. Oh, maybe this was in Kentucky. I don't know. Maybe I got that wrong. Wicca. Yeah. Wicca. Donald, actually the Delphi case has been covered so much. I wouldn't mind covering it, but it has been covered a lot, and they really don't have any leads, which breaks my heart. But a little bit crazy says, this stuff gives me the chills. Yeah. Hippie said, I had Wiccan furniture when I lived in the sticks and bricks. Some were friends, some were loosely acquainted. Authorities alleged they were allied by boredom, recklessness, and a sense of isolation, unhappiness with their family life, and a twisted desire to do something that had meaning. I don't know how killing people has meaning. A few even believed in witchcraft and the occult, and some were attracted to the Black Goth book, according to Bell. Cornett had cut herself, and she fancied Satanism. Eddie said, exactly, baby. Crazy. In early April, they stole a 9mm and a .25 caliber pistol and hit the road in a beat-up Chevrolet Citation. Cornett, according to authorities, was fascinated with movies like Natural Born Killers and boasted of perhaps staging a series of crimes just like the homicidal actors in the film. Cornett, in fact, appeared to be the group's ringleader. They arrived at the rest stop off I-81 in Greene County on the afternoon of April 6. By coincidence, the Lillielids had stopped at the same place. Uncle Lisa made a joke. Hippie said, I had Wiccan furniture when I lived in the sticks and bricks. Uncle Lisa said, that's pretty wicked. Oh, man. So there's the rest stop. I was talking to Hippie earlier and said we were doing this story tonight, and he says, yeah, I stop at rest stops a lot. I said, yeah, it's scary. Scary. Hey, Oracles and Beyond. Tommy Travel says, Nomadic Hippie, I think you had wicker furniture and not the kind that worships the devil. It was a Saturday evening, and they had gone to Johnson City earlier that day for an all-day worship for members of the Jehovah's Witness faith. And at the end of that workshop, they were driving back home to Powell. Vidar, a native of Norway who had moved to the United States intent on a better life, was 34. Delfina's family was from Honduras. Delfina, 28, had met Vidar in South Florida. They'd ultimately settled in East Tennessee. The Lillielids had saved what they could, but they didn't have much money. Vidar worked as a bellhop at the Holiday Inn near Cedar Bluff Road in West Knoxville. You don't hear the word bellhop used very often. The family and some of the Kentuckians struck up a conversation. Reisner testified later that they were desperate to get a replacement vehicle because the Chevy wasn't going to last much longer. The Lillielids appeared to offer the group an opportunity. Hippie said, Wiccan, wicker, tomato, tomato. Reisner said he quietly showed Vidar the 9mm tucked in his pants. He said the group wanted the Lillielids' aging Dodge van. No one would get hurt, he said, but they would all have to leave together to find a place where they could take over the van. See, no. I think if I was in this situation, I'm just trying to put myself in the situation. There's no way I would get in the van. If you're going to shoot me when we leave, you're going to shoot me there. Shoot me there in front of witnesses because I'm not going nowhere. I don't think I would be able to get in the van. My legs would probably collapse while I was peeing my pants. I really don't think I could get in a van with a bunch of goth teenagers. I don't know. This whole thing is sad. I just keep thinking about those kids. All right, let's keep going. With Vidar at the wheel of the Dodge, the Lillielids and the Kentuckians headed in the two vehicles to the Bailington exit. They drove down Payne Hollow Road to a spot that looked remote, although residents lived not far away. Nettie said, bad idea. There were people at the rest stop. Wish they would have said, no, I'm not going. Yeah, I guess that's what I mean, is I wish they would have said no. Like, I get you kind of do whatever in the moment. Your brain's not really thinking right. But man, those kids, I bet the whole thing was terrifying, I'm sure. Like I said earlier, I can't imagine being the boy that survived when the rest of his family didn't, and what that would carry through life. I just can't imagine. What happened next and who did what has never been fully explained or made exactly clear. Most of the killers accused Bryant of shooting the victims. Neither Bell nor the police believed he acted alone. Bryant had the .25 caliber pistol, but Reisner had handled the 9mm record show. Oracles and Beyond said, so sad. Yes, very. No one that day was innocent. Authorities came to believe that the group made sure everyone took part. It was part of an initiation. The family was made to get out of the van and stand in a ditch. Most of the group agreed that Vidar and Delphina pleaded for their lives, especially those of the children. Reisner would later testify that Bryant began shooting. Vidar was shot 6 times. Delphina was shot 8 times, records show. Bell recalled that the bullets were fired into Vidar and Delphina that formed the shape of a pentagram. Another bullet hit Vidar in the eye. 1 bullet hit Tabitha and 2 hit Peter. The sheer amount of times they shot these people is unreal. And then to shoot in the shape of a pentagram, what? That's something I've never heard of in any story I've ever covered or talked about. I have never heard of bullets being shot in the shape of a pentagram. Drawing pentagrams, carving pentagrams, yes, never shooting bullets. That just sounds insane to me. Nettie said, I know, crazy. Vidar and Lillielid, May 10th, 1962 to April 6th, 1997. It was the year I graduated high school. A neighbor, oh my gosh, okay, start over. A neighbor later recalled hearing gunshots and the happy sounds of people playing. But police didn't think that was the Lillielid children. They terrorized the neighbor. I cannot read this one. A neighbor later recalled hearing gunshots and the happy sounds of people playing. But police didn't think that was the Lillielid children. They theorized the neighbor heard some of the Kentuckians perhaps enjoying the crimes they were committing. Whew, got it out. Tongue got tied up on that one. It's the road they took them down. The killers arranged the Lillielid's bodies in the muddy ditch. They laid the parents out, laid the children over them in the form of a cross. Then they got in the van, turned around, came back, and intentionally and maliciously ran over them. Wow. Wow. Again, remember there's a survivor in this. There is a kid that was there while all of his parents and his siblings were being shot. And then the people go away, and I'm sure he thought for a moment maybe he was safe. And then they come back and drive over them. Ugh. Nutty said, I can't believe they ran over them. I can't either. Crime scene photos. Tabitha and Peter still were alive, although Tabitha would die the next day at the Knoxville hospital, leaving the blue Chevrolet behind with its headlights still burning. The Kentucky Six headed out into the night. This is so senseless. So senseless. Tabitha Lillielid, October 30th, 1998 to April 7th, 1997. The Kentuckians' ride didn't last long. On April 8th, they were caught in the Lillielid's van trying to get into Mexico at the border at Douglas, Arizona. Hey, my world, my way, Helen. Thanks for coming in. Back in Tennessee, police traced the blue citation back to Resner's family, and they quickly pieced together who all likely was involved in the Lillielid's killings. Shock descended on East Tennessee as people began to comprehend the depth of the attack. Delphina Lillielid, March 26, 1969 to April 6, 1997. Tabitha did not survive her gunshot wounds, dying April 7, 1997 at the University of Tennessee Medical Center. Peter, found crying and muddy with his mother's body, survived at the hospital. Although he had suffered serious injury and lost an eye from a gunshot fired in the back of his head. Sorry, my dogs are going crazy. Peter's progress. The killers were brought back to Greene County. A mass of angry people greeted their arrival at the Greene County Courthouse, shouting and calling for justice. In Knoxville, a store hung 6 nooses, symbolic of how many wanted them to be punished. Oh, wow. These people were like, yeah, you did that, we're going to hang you. Wow. I mean, I can't blame them for feeling that way, but wow. That's so sad. My dogs always bark when I start video. Yeah, my dogs, they bark or this door opens behind me back here, and my family's crazy. They're all over the house. They're all doing a million different things. I have to hide in my room to do these. So, but yeah, you'll always usually hear them dogs barking. Wow. Hey, Roy and Becky's Travels. Can you imagine driving by and seeing that? If you didn't know anything about what happened in the town and you just drove by and saw that, that's not good advertisement. I get why they did that. I get it. That's how they wanted to handle things like they did in the old days. But still, wow. All right. These townspeople were pissed. Let's just say that. But the defendants hadn't confessed to the exact roles that they all had played. But the defendants hadn't confessed to the exact roles that all had played. Many pointed at Bryant as the lone shooter. At age 14, he couldn't face the threat of the death penalty because federal law spares juveniles from facing the threat of execution. Oh, yeah. Yeah, blame the 14-year-old for the whole thing. Like that wasn't planned out. Unreal. Right. Finally, in 1998, the state presented an offer. If all 6 pleaded guilty to murder and other charges and accepted a sentence of life without a chance for parole, it was an all or nothing bargain. So town people wanted them all dead. To kill them like they killed those people. And then the state ends up giving them a deal where they all have to spend their whole life in jail. No parole. Today, Peter Lillielid lives in the Stockholm, Sweden area and is interested in a career perhaps in insurance or business. He graduated from high school in 2014 and went on to a professional school. He can walk by himself, although one of his knees doesn't flex easily. While at home, he walks unaided, but when he's out and about, he'll use a wheelchair to help get around. I'm guessing he would move back to the Sweden area or back out of the United States after his family came here for the freedom and all that the United States has to offer, and then they all end up dead, and he's the only one left alive. I'm sure he moved back with family and got the heck out of the United States. I'm glad he's doing pretty well, but like I said, he probably, not only does he have those physical injuries, but I'm sure mentally that messes with him for the rest of his life. Peter Lillielid. Peter had swung through Knoxville last summer while on a low-key visit to the United States. He ended up meeting a Knoxville police officer who had guarded his door at the medical center after the child was shot. They had their pictures made together. The officer told him he just wanted him to know he'd always thought about him and had been glad to stand watch to ensure no one came to hurt him. I guess that's something to think about too. Imagine how the officers who responded to that and saw those children, imagine how they felt and how they had to process that too. Seeing that, you would have to process that some way. My World said, plus hard to imagine what he will be going through himself for the rest of his life. Yeah. Nettie said, I'm so glad that he survived. Yeah, I'm glad that he survived. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad he survived, but I can't imagine. Tommy Travel said, I'm tearing up over here. So sad. Yeah, I can't imagine. Okay, so everybody has something in their childhood that they've had to kind of process and deal with that was negative, right? Maybe not everybody, but most people have had something in their life that's affected them in a negative way, and they have to figure out how to move through that and past that. This is his whole family was taken from him, and he was there while they were taken from him. So the nightmares from that situation alone, and then going your whole life without your family, I just can't imagine processing that or moving past that. And then for the police officers, I can't imagine. I mean, police officers see things all the time, and I think a lot of the time we don't think about it, but police officers see so much so much of the nastiness in our world, and they have to live with that. Yet they go to work every day and still do it. I'm not saying all police officers are great. Don't get me wrong. I know there's a whole thing with police officers right now. But a lot of them do see these really bad things, and the way the mind works, I just can't imagine. I can't imagine being in that position. My World says, I'm tearing up as well. All right. Let's keep going here. I love that he stood watch over him. I love that. Oh, there they are together. Aww. Let's make this big real quick. Look at them. Peter still looks so young. That he said, such a great picture of them. It really is. And then this is Tabitha. I can't read the rest of them. I think that's the mom and the dad and the daughter. Could be wrong. I don't know where the other daughter is. I think we're back at the beginning, but yeah, we're back at the beginning. So what's everybody's thoughts on that one? Nettie says, yes, that was the family. Roy and Becky says, Nettie, the internet's getting better and better. Yeah, so what did everybody think of that story? That one's sad. That one's got me in my feels right now. Also, I can't speak. Also, I wonder if they have any family over here in the United States that visits their graves and things. I don't know. It's just heartbreaking. Happy Place says, yes, it's a very sad story. Roy and Becky said, from what we heard, sad. I think Hippie's right. Maybe next weekend we do ghost haunting of some sort. I don't know. We'll have to find something that maybe has a twist of goofy with it. Donald said, very sad and hard for Peter. Actually, speaking of has a goofy twist to it, I always get on here, and when I'm doing a story, when I'm talking, I will sometimes make jokes just to kind of lighten the mood a little bit, because covering heavy topics, it can get too heavy sometimes. And so I always say, I'm not laughing to be rude. I'm laughing just because it provides some comic relief. I say something like that. And I knew someday I would end up getting a comment about me laughing with such heavy topics. And I did last week get one of those comments. But, you know, like this one, there was nothing. I'm in shock. I'm in shock just reading this story. But, yeah, sometimes I do laugh. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, though. Unlike the ghost stories and things. I don't know. All right. Let me read some comments up here. RV on the Wayside said, that was very heavy-hearted. I don't know if I could have finished it. You did great. Oh, thanks, RV on the Wayside. Hitch Up and Toe said, there are some sick people about. Definitely. Definitely. I'm in the UK and I find this stuff very interesting. Thank you for sharing. Really appreciate it. Sending love and blessings to that poor family. Thank you. I'm glad you're here, my world. Nettie said, yes, I'll work on paranormal or hauntings next. Tommy says, usually I like to pepper in some little jokes during these, but there was no way to do that tonight. Yeah, this was a pretty heavy one. I like it because stories like this still need to be told. Even if they're heavy and even if they're sad, it is still a way to remember the people that were taken, and I think they do need to be remembered, and I think their stories do need to be told. But I do like to joke on the like haunted ones, or I think I even joked on the bridge collapsing one maybe. But sometimes with those type of things, it's easier to kind of joke here and there rather than the heaviness. The Devil Tree in South Florida. I think I've actually been putting together something with that, Hippie. If that's the one you talked to me about before. Donald says, can you do the death of Jennifer Frygate? I'll definitely look into it. Donald says, I love your humorous way. We need it. Well, thank you, Donald. Nettie said, it's okay, BB. We're bringing light to the subject. Yeah, definitely. And I'm not going to laugh about someone dying. That's not what I do. But I knew I tend to giggle or smile or laugh when I get nervous or when I get upset or anxious or something like that, And so I knew eventually a comment would come. The person was really nice about the way they stated it. They were really nice. But yeah, some people just laugh or smile when they're anxious or nervous too. So there's all kinds of different ways of doing it. But I don't want to be fake. I don't want to put on a serious face and talk about these things and it come across as not real or genuine. So this is just me. I don't speak English very well. I laugh sometimes, but I really enjoy bringing light to these subjects. Roy and Becky said, be yourself, baby. Yes, definitely. If not, and this goes for any YouTube channel and any anytime you're presenting anything, when you put content on your channel, you need to put content that you like and the things you're interested in and all that. Otherwise, the audience is going to be able to tell that you're not into it. It's going to come across fake and it's not going to work. So that's kind of like in general, just always remember to be yourself and do it your way because you're the only you. Oh, thank you, Donald. I appreciate that. Be yourself. Be yourself. When people laugh or smile, it's a release of the pain that you're feeling at the time. I went through some hard times through my childhood, and I find this to release that, if that makes sense. Yes, definitely. That makes sense. Another thing that I found that helps with negative stuff, and I taught my kids this all growing up. Anytime you have a negative thought, replace it with a positive. So if in the moment you're in a bad situation and things aren't going very well, and in your brain you think, man, this couldn't get any worse, the next thought should be, I'm thankful for, and then tell yourself something you're thankful for. And it really helps to pull away from that negative type of feeling. My world says, and it is a really good thing to remember people, even if it is bad. I enjoy going to graveyards and finding the really old ones where people don't visit anymore. I find that quite sad. I agree. There was a property that I used to go to a long time ago. It was a farm. And in the middle of this farm was a very old graveyard. It was from the 1800s. And no one visits it anymore. But when you buy property that has a graveyard on it, you have to leave the graveyard as it is. You can't do anything with it. I mean, you can keep it clean, but you can't remove it or anything like that. And so every time I would go to this property, I would make sure that I went down to the graveyard and kind of dusted off the graves a bit and pulled weeds and leaves and stuff like that, just because I felt like it needed to be honored in a way, you know. Nettie said, great live, BB. Thank you, Nettie. Anyone that's new in here and didn't hear earlier, MelNetteLivingFreeZipCodeless is usually on here with me. And if she can't, she's usually in the chat. And she is the one that puts these little videos together for us. And they are a surprise for me and the audience as we go through them. So I really appreciate Nettie for being a part of that. Happy Place has got to go. I'm going to hop off too. I know Super Bowl's going on, and D usually streams after me, Boxman D, but she's not going to be streaming until I think 9 p.m. tonight. And there's no K&R and no Jerry Howley stream, Happy Place says. So, Nettie says, I absolutely love doing it, baby. Aw. All right, well, I'm going to hop off. I hope all of you have a great night. Uncle Lisa, seriously, thanks for making it tonight. I appreciate it. I know it's super late where you are, so thank you. All right, wishing you all much kindness and much love. Bye for now.